Case study for today, how I helped one company increase their close ratios by 20% and how that actually led to a 40% increase in total sales in just 90 days. So here we go. Let's set the stage before you hear directly from the founders as they give you the before and after. We're going to hear from them in just a second and the results from our 3-month sales training program with myself. So here's the basics on Spidex. They're a pest control company. They operate in 9 markets in 5 different states. They sell 12 to 16 month service, pest control service contracts. This is a recurring revenue product, right? So every sale is compounded over 12 to 36 months. So each and every sale is very valuable to the company. The 2 main sales arms are the incoming calls from marketing and advertising, the leads they get from those. Number 2, the upsells when technicians service the customer's home. They go out there and service the home, see another problem, an additional problem for the homeowner. They upsell a product or service right at the home. Now let them share the state of their business kind of before we started working together and what life was like, what business was like. So let's hear from them.
Initially, we were just seeing a trend where we were spending more in marketing, getting more leads, and closing less of the leads than we had hoped for. So we were spending more to get about the same level of sales. We had a growing technician program, but they weren't producing the number of add-on sales that we had anticipated that a team of their size could. We noticed that in our sales process that it wasn't clearly defined enough. We would have just not a clear way to get from point A to point B as we were taking on a lead. So each person was kind of doing it in their own way in the office and in the field. And so we were really hoping to standardize and give everyone a clear path on how to make a sale and get through the process of a sale.
Really, it just came down to we wanted people more equipped to close sales. And you look at the numbers. We wanted our closing rate up, our closing percentage. It was fine, but it wasn't like really good, and we just wanted that bumped up. Yeah, I mean, numbers are trending up. So the feedback we've had from several people who are taking on the sales more as their role, because we'll still have phone calls that come through that somebody not in sales will take and schedule. Everything we've gotten back is that we're trending a lot better than before. People are closing at a higher rate. They're sort of implementing what they learned and putting it into practice and helping customers kind of through the process. So far so good. Numbers up.
I did a quick look back on just January and February, and we closed in those 2 months about 9% more of our qualified leads, which is a big increase. You think like you get 10 leads, normally you'd close 3 or 4 of them, but you get an additional 1 out of every 10. Like that's a nice uptick. And if you look at the people dedicated to sales who took the training and like really focused on that, you would see that they're not up just 9%. They're probably closer to like 20%. That's also still pretty like fresh off of the training. We're still going back and reviewing your trainings, and I think we'll build on that and keep seeing that number go up. But like it was a really nice boost in such a short period of time.
No, we had one individual on our team that said she mentioned that after training with you for a certain time period of a month or a few weeks, she closed every lead that came in. And that won't always be the case. We're not going to always be at 100%, but there for a while she was just closing everybody she talked to.
When I was meeting with the founders at the end of the training program, we were discussing how things were going, the good news that they had for the sales. They mentioned that the tech sales were up 9%, which was great. They were super excited about that. The people on the phone, so the salespeople taking the direct calls, they were up 20%. And then Taylor here had kind of mentioned that total sales were up 40%. And if you're thinking what I'm thinking, I'm like, wait, 9 plus 20 does not equal 40%. So where are you getting that number from? But here's what's really cool. Because they had the confidence in that they were started closing a higher percentage of their leads from the ads, Then they started putting more money into ads. They were more comfortable scaling their ads, spending more money, and they knew that those dollars that they used to spend on ads that were getting wasted, now those dollars were coming through and converting. So that's how they got to a 40% increase in total sales. Very exciting for their business. Now, one of the other results that we had talked about that had been communicated previously that they really didn't talk about in the video, but Taylor and Coleman had communicated with me previously, kind of off camera. They mentioned how sales reps, there was a different energy as far as around sales. Reps were posting sales in their Slack channel. There was a lot of, cheering each other on, supporting each other. There was a lot of excitement for each other. There was more happiness, more focus, and more success about sales. And the technicians also started in on that. And so the attitude towards sales had really changed, which, it's hard to quantify that exactly. But, that shift in mindset is really, really valuable and very important. If you have a sales team and you want that sales team to improve, increase sales, get better results, increase your close ratio, I invite you to click on my Calendly link I'll put in the description. So let's just chat, see if it makes sense for both of us, see where you want to get to, see if I can help you get there, and then it'll be well worth your time, but we'll talk to you on that call.
We knew it would work just from getting to know you and understanding your past. Like, we knew you had spent a lot of time in sales in a lot of different capacities. Through the times that we communicated and talked about what the strategy would be and what the process would look like, you really gave us the confidence that you were equipped for the job.
The other thing I liked is that kind of after that initial meeting, you took it and got it done, which was very helpful because, that's why we wanted you to do it. So we didn't have to do every part of it. You came in and you got it done.
Well, and when you shared your sales principles, they were really in line with what we pictured for our own sales force, that you would be teaching them in a way that we were on board with.
When I start working with a company, we just have a call or two about the current state of their business, kind of the needs of the companies, their direction, the goals that they want to get to, the things they want to achieve, and where they're kind of falling short. On the first call, it's kind of to see if we're a good fit, kind of get a lay of the land, so to speak. And if it's not a good fit, I just tell people straight up, hey, this is not a good fit. I'm not going to be able to help you. Or we're not a good fit on their side too. So either way, and then if it looks good, we move forward. So we diagnose the problem, we start gathering information, and it's going to be vital to the success. Going in, I thought we were only working with the incoming sales team, help them make more sales, because that's kind of what they started talking about first. But come to find out, it was more than that. The second sales arm, which I mentioned earlier, of the technicians creating sales at the home when they're out servicing and doing and spraying for pest control. Two parts of this with the technicians at the home. Number one, there was kind of a problem, but I saw number two was an opportunity. So first, the problem. So some of the technicians, they felt like they weren't quote unquote a salesman or a salesperson, and they that wasn't their job. The second part was an opportunity. They had an easy opportunity. I felt like they're right at the house. They're speaking with the customers. They can find issues right there and help the customers get ahead of future problems or problems before they got really a lot worse. They could diagnose real quick and then offer a solution right at the house. So doing those upsells was a big opportunity for this company.
Process was good. I mean, you came in and kind of set the stage of what you were trying to accomplish over the however many weeks we did it. You kicked it off in person, which was nice. You got to meet the team, go and see, who was in office, who was going remote, the different technicians, how we can help them.
Yeah, and it wasn't just discussions out of order. Everything had a plan. So each week there was a topic that you were covering, and I liked how that was mapped out. It made a lot of sense to me that you built from the beginning through the process, and then it wasn't up to us to just remember the steps. You gave good handouts so that we can refer back to it with our team and continue to train on it. Main things I heard from several people were that they really appreciated that in between calls you took the time to listen to their calls and give them real-time feedback, because sometimes when you're explaining something and it's not a real life situation, it's hard to show them, like in a role play. And they really appreciated that they took a real time call, gave it to you, and got like real feedback on a live call. I also heard that just people loved how practical it was. It wasn't too complicated. It wasn't making the process harder. It was just straightforward, practical sales advice on getting these sales closed.
Just a couple quick things on input on the process. So this was, again, a 3-month sales training plan. We did a 2-day in-person training kickoff. I really like to do those. It's really valuable to get to know the team. You can kind of see, look them in the eye, so to speak, see how they're thinking about sales, see their personalities, and connect back and forth. So I really like to do that. And then we followed up with weekly trainings on Zoom. Plus, I went and trained in person at their yearly leadership conference that they have. This is when one of the sales reps, Katie, had mentioned that she had closed 100% of her leads the last month. And so this was very impressive, but you could just see in her eyes the excitement, the energy, and that commitment and that conviction and that increased confidence that she had in selling. So that's big time. And obviously that's not going to happen all the time, but this is what we do. We improve sales results.
Outside of even the numbers getting better, I think it's also fun to bring somebody in and show that, hey, we're trying as a company to get better. People like that. We try every day to get a little bit better as a company. Each quarter, we talk about our goals, the things we're trying to do. And so when someone on the team sees that, hey, you made an investment to try to make it better and make more sales and make it a better place to work, they like that. They tell us they like that. And so that's another part of it, is they feel valued, because we do value them. We love the team members we work with. We all want to get better. And so they see that we care. They see that we're trying to get a little bit better. It helps the customer. And then on top of that, you get the bump. You get the bump in sales. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think people really like knowing that we were willing to invest in them. So many people talk about their own career paths and wanting to advance and gain more skills, and I think that went a long way for people to see that we were willing to bring somebody in and invest in them.
If you have a sales team, you want that sales team to improve, increase sales, get better results, increase your close ratio, I invite you to click on my Calendly link I'll put in the description. So let's just chat, see if it makes sense for both of us, see where you want to get to, see if I can help you get there, and then it'll be well worth your time, but we'll talk to you on that call.